Hey everybody, welcome to A Moment with Marta. So today I want to talk to you about modeling and just visuals. So different tools that you can use as a parent, as a teacher, as a therapist to be able to work with your children with autism. So a lot of people are just visual learners. People on the spectrum especially tend to be visual learners. I myself have a really hard time processing information if I'm hearing somebody read something or they're telling me something but I can't see it. Sometimes I just can't grasp the meaning. There's been a few times where my husband will be reading something to me and I'm like, wait a minute, can I see it? I need to read it. I just am not taking in that information. And the same is true for my kiddos and a lot of other kiddos that are on the spectrum. So as a parent and as a teacher, as a therapist, you can utilize a lot of different visual aids to help teach different skills. So, for example, you have this, which is, you've got a red for wait, a green for go. So red and green are just kind of your natural stop and go, but you could use something like this for turn taking. So board games and card games are really great tools for teaching some social interaction. And so you could use something like this for when it's an individual's turn to go or when it's time for them to wait. And so it helps to teach some impulse control. It helps to teach social etiquette when it's their turn to go or they need to wait before they take their turn, that kind of thing. So those kinds of visuals are really good. You can set up like a visual schedule. So you can have whatever the student's name is or the child's name is and whatever the schedule is. So here's just kind of an example. And this is just laminated pictures that you can print out from the internet and then just do Velcro dots on the back. I mean, this is seriously easy to make. It's not very expensive. This is just cardboard that's covered with butcher paper, and then we have a strip of Velcro down the middle like this. So here would be this person's schedule: play, eat, read, sharing time, and it shows the whole family, play with my sister, it has toys, there's bath. So that's just kind of one example of like a visual schedule that you could hang on the wall. They make apps that are really good too, that are out there that you can utilize, where you can take pictures of the individual, of different family members, of different objects that they typically use, and that can be really useful. Or you could just do that, print those out and get those laminated. There's something like this that also is just utilizing laminated pictures, but this is like pictures that might be of an actual person, an actual stroller that might be used. So that's another option of something that could be done. And this is more of like maybe a bedtime routine. Maybe you go for a walk or a drive. Maybe you read a book, and then there's bath time. You brush your teeth, get on your PJs, and then you have bedtime. So you have your blankie, hugs and kisses, whatever it is that you do in your routine at home, you can utilize that, whether they're verbal or nonverbal, because it's Velcro. What you can do is work on fine motor skills, having them present what it is that they want. Maybe this is what they want. Maybe they have to pick between two objects. They pick this and they put it on there. They could be completely nonverbal, but they could be communicating what their wants or their needs are. Another thing that is really great is For kiddos like mine that were hyperlexic, they were reading by the time they were 2 years old. Some kids as early as 8 months old. So having the picture but with the words is really good because it helps to encourage reading. It helps them to see those vocabulary words, so it can help with language skills. Even if they're not quite there yet, just seeing it, it's a visual reminder of what it is. Hanging around the house, those are great things. You can utilize things like this. If you have certain behaviors, here's like no hitting, no kicking, no biting, whatever it is that the child struggles with, you can have those hung up in the room, in the home, just as simple reminders for what the rules are, because if they don't know the rules, they don't see it posted somewhere, it's impossible for them to be successful. And the thing is you want them to build confidence, you want them to feel successful. So here's something that is good for using the restroom. Sometimes kiddos with autism can get really overwhelmed by every single step that's involved. So, for example, when my son was maybe 3 years old, if we were to say, we're going to go to the park, for him, he got bombarded with every single step that was involved in, we're going to go to the park. It was, I need to go to the bathroom, I need to get my shoes on, I need to get into the car seat, I need to buckle up, I need to do this and this, all these different steps, and that can be overwhelming, that can be very upsetting. So if you can break something down into a schedule like this for whatever the activity is, this is using the restroom. And again, it's got the words along with the pictures, which I highly recommend. So we have pull down underwear, go to the bathroom, get toilet paper, wipe, pull pants up, flush, wash hands. You could have one that's specifically for washing your hands. You could have it taped to a mirror so they could see it, whether it's in the school, whether it's at your home. Having those kinds of visuals can kind of remind them of the different steps so they can be focused, they can stay on task, and get to the point where they're not prompt dependent. They're not relying on you to tell them every step to take. They kind of see it. It helps to promote independence. So things like that are really good. With modeling, you can just model the behavior that you want them to see. So utilizing things like thank you and please, using full sentences, whatever it is that you're wanting them to learn, you can model for them. So for example, my daughter struggles with tone. She might say something and it might sound to an outsider that she is being really petulant, that she's being fussy, or that she has an attitude of some kind. But in her head, she's saying the words and she's being straightforward, and she's not recognizing that what the tone sounds like. So, for example, she might say, "Yeah, I want to do such and such," and I'll just kind of stop, take a breath, and say, okay, this is what you said. This is how it sounded. Here's another way to say it. Yes, I would like to do such and such, please. And I'll ask her which way sounds the most respectful and the kindest. And she'll say the second one. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Let's practice that. And so instead of just jumping on her and getting onto her for having an attitude with her tone, I'm modeling for her what an appropriate tone would be, because she just isn't hearing it. She's not aware. She's utilizing her language, which is great. So now we can focus on what is her tone of voice. What do those nuances mean? And so I can model what that sounds like. Or if there's a specific task, I can model what that is, what that looks like. For my son, taking the recycling to the recycling bin. The first time that we did it, I showed him. We take the box that has all of the things that we've had in the recycling bin. We go out, we put it in the bin, we close the lid, we come back in and shut the door and put the box back in its place. So those are ways to model whatever it is, whether it's a behavior, it's a tone of voice, it's a sentence of some kind. I talked in a few videos ago about echolalia, and so what I would do when my son would say thank you after I'd said thank you, he would say the exact same thing I did in the exact same voice. I would just model for him what he was supposed to say. So I might say, thank you. He would say, thank you. I'd say, you're welcome. And he'd say, you're welcome. And eventually we got to the point where he didn't have to have that prompt and that reminder of what he was supposed to say. He eventually learned that I said thank you, he said you're welcome. He struggled too with like my and your. So when I would say my turn and your turn, he would say the exact same thing, my turn, your turn. And so I would model for him what it was that he was supposed to say, you know. And so I'd say your turn, and it almost might even be backwards for me, but I would model what he was supposed to say. So it's almost like a mirror image effect, if you will. But those are really good ways and tools to help students and children with autism to learn more vocabulary, to gain more independence, to not feel so anxious about all of the different steps they have to take in between. And I highly recommend using visuals just throughout your house, throughout your classroom. If you have classroom rules or you have rules in your house, you know, list them and post them on the wall in different places, whether it's, you know, no hitting or quiet hands, whatever the rule is, post it, have it with pictures and with words, and it's going to help them as they're going about their day. They're seeing those reminders, their visual clues, and it helps them to have more of an understanding of what's expected of them. And it helps to lower that anxiety because they know, okay, these are the rules, this is what I'm supposed to do, this is my schedule, whatever it may be. Even if it's something as simple as, okay, this is what I do, these are the steps I take when I go to the bathroom, and they can just consult each little thing and not feel overwhelmed by all of the steps involved. So until next time on A Moment with Marta, thanks, bye.